Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am here to present my lectures about the course Finite Fields. This course, Finite Fields, we have covered first 10 to 11 lectures in our classroom lessons, and now the remaining lecture will be presented online with the help of these online resources that I have. I will try my best to explain everything with the resources that I have. And let us start. I will give to you some review of the course first, and then we move to our next lecture, that is lecture number 12. 11 lectures have been covered in the class, and now the remaining lectures will be delivered online. First, I will give a little introduction to this course. The material, I will give you the references from where I have taken this material. And the introduction is here. Finite field is one of the most beautiful and important area of abstract algebra. Finite fields were first introduced by Galois in 1813. His proof of the unsolvability of the general quantic equations. When Cayley invented matrices, a few decades later after Galois, it was natural to investigate groups over matrices over finite fields. To this day, matrix groups over finite fields are among the most important classes of groups. In the past 50 years, there have been important applications of finite fields in computer science, coding theory, information theory, and cryptography. But besides the many uses of finite fields in pure and applied mathematics, there is yet another good reason for studying them, that they are just the plain fun. The most striking fact about finite fields is this restricted nature of their order and structure. So, the story so far that what we have covered until now in the first 11 lectures, because most of the students did not study the basic course in the previous classes about ring theories. Therefore, we started from the very basic things. And first, after introduction, I discussed with you groups, finite groups, Lagrange's theorem. And after Lagrange's theorem, we have studied conjugacy classes and its applications. Then we studied rings, type of rings, zero divisors, integral domains, unit elements in rings, division rings, fields. And after fields, we studied subrings and ideals in the ring, prime ideal and maximal ideals, quotient rings and factor rings. They are also named as residue class rings. Then we studied characteristic of a ring, what is order of a finite field and characteristic of a finite field. We have studied that the finite field has order equals to some prime power and its characteristic is always a prime number. These things we have already studied. Then we studied polynomials, polynomial as a function, PIDs, PID mean principal ideal domains. And these topics we covered: divisibility of polynomials, division algorithm, remainder theorem, factor theorem, Euclidean algorithm, GCD of polynomials, LCM of polynomials, irreducible and reducible polynomials over a field. And then we studied the resemblance between the ring of integers z and the ring of polynomials f of x. So we start our next lecture. We start from this similarity between the ring z and the polynomial ring over a field with one variable. And this is the similarities. These are the similarities. This is the resemblance. We can see what we have in z. Z is a ring, and in this ring, both are rings. And in the ring, we have the following description of unit elements. An element is a unit element if and only if its mod value is 1. Unit element means those elements which have multiplicative inverse in the ring. And in the polynomial, a polynomial is a unit polynomial if and only if it has degree 0. Degree 0 means non-zero constant polynomial. Polynomial has degree 0 if it is non-zero and is constant. And in number theory, we studied that division algorithm holds in integers. Similarly, division algorithm holds in polynomials. Z is a principal ideal domain. F of x is also a principal ideal domain. Euclidean algorithm holds in Z, and by applying Euclidean algorithm, we can compute GCD. Similarly, we can apply this Euclidean algorithm and can find GCD in polynomials. In integers, we have prime numbers, and in polynomials, we have irreducible polynomial. They have similar nature. Here we have unique factorization into primes, and in polynomials, we have unique factorization into irreducibles. In integers, we see that when we mod out z by the ideal generated by a prime number, we get a field. And similarly, soon we will prove that in the polynomials, when we mod out the polynomial by the ideal generated by an irreducible polynomial, we get a field. This is a quotient ring. And also in integers, we studied that prime numbers can be described by the following property, that when a prime p divides ab, then p divides either a or p divides b. Similar property holds for irreducible polynomials. If an irreducible polynomial f divides gh, then f divides g or f divides h. So these are some resemblance. And now we move to the next result. This is our first theorem. This theorem can be found in any book of abstract algebra. Is a very famous and basic theorem. This theorem tells us that f be a field and f is a polynomial in fx. Then f is the ideal generated by f is a maximal ideal in fx if and only if f is irreducible over f. First, in the proof, first we suppose that the ideal generated by f is maximal ideal in this ring. Maximal ideal is the ideal such that there exists no ideal properly between that ideal and the ring. So first we suppose that this ideal is maximal, and we will prove that the polynomial is irreducible. You know very well what is irreducible polynomial. A non-zero non-unit polynomial is said to be irreducible if it cannot be written as product of two non-constant polynomials. In other words, a polynomial of positive degree is said to be irreducible if it cannot be written as product of two non-zero non-constant polynomials. And now see the process. First, we suppose that this is a maximal ideal. From this, we conclude two things. Number one, because this ideal cannot be zero, because if it is zero, then there are some ideals between this and the ring, so it cannot be maximal. So it cannot, from this we conclude that this cannot be zero. Also, this ideal, the maximal ideal is always a proper ideal. It cannot be equal to ring. So it means this polynomial f cannot be a unit element. That means this is a non-zero constant polynomial. And now in order to prove that f is irreducible, we suppose that f can be factored as gh for some polynomial g and h belongs to fx. Notice here that both g and h must be non-zero because f is non-zero. From this we conclude that the ideal generated by f is concluded in ideal generated by g and everything is in this. But here this is because g divides f, so ideal generated by g contains the ideal generated by f. Now we apply the maximality. Because this is maximal ideal, so this middle ideal g is either equal to the ideal generated by f or it is the whole ring. We have two cases. So this implies this equals to g or this equals to f of x because f is maximal. Now we study both the cases one by one. If g equals to f, then both have equal degree, and so by degree rule, we get that degree of h equals to 0. That means h is a non-zero constant polynomial. And if we take the second case, if g equals to a whole ring, then it is a it has degree 0 because this is a unit polynomial. It is a non-zero constant polynomial. Hence, either h is constant or g is constant. So it is proved that f is irreducible over f. I hope you understand. Conversely, we suppose that f is irreducible over f. And we want to show that ideal generated by f is a maximal ideal. Whenever we have to prove that some ideal is maximal, we suppose there exists some ideal between this ideal and the whole ring. Let's say I is some ideal between these two things. And now we prove that I is either equals to f or I equals to this ring. Since fx is a PID, so I is generated by single element for some g belongs to h, then we have this inclusion. This implies because g divides f, so it means f can be written as g into h for some h belongs to f of x. But f is irreducible, so either g is constant or h is constant. Now if g is constant, then I is the whole ring, and if h is constant, then f and gh are associated. The ideal generated by them will be equal, and hence this ideal is maximal. This completes the proof. Now, there is immediate corollary of this theorem that after proving it maximal, that let f be a field and f be a polynomial over f, then f is irreducible over f if and only if this quotient ring is a field. That is, this is another process of checking that a polynomial is irreducible or not. That is, we take the factor ring of fx by this polynomial ideal, and we get, if we get field, we are sure that this is irreducible, otherwise not. So this corollary can be easily proved by applying the theorem 1 and the basic fact that an ideal M in a commutating ring with unity is maximal if and only if R quotient M is a field. Now, here is another corollary. This corollary tells us that the nature of the irreducible polynomial is similar to the nature of prime numbers in integers. This corollary states that let f be a field and let fgh be any polynomial in fx. If f is irreducible over f and f divides gh, then either f divides g or f divides h. See the proof. Since f is irreducible, so this quotient ring is a field, and therefore, in particular, this is integral domain. It means this ideal f must be prime ideal, because we know the quotient ring is integral domain, then the ideal will be prime ideal. Now, as f divides gh, therefore gh belongs to this ideal, which is a prime ideal, and this implies g belongs to this ideal or h belongs to this ideal. This is by definition of prime ideal, and this implies f divides g or f divides h, and this completes the proof. And now here are some examples to emphasize on this theorem. First, consider the field of real numbers R. We know that x square plus 1 is irreducible over R. So by the previous theorem, this quotient ring must be a field. And we can, this message is get it from, this message we get from the previous theorem, but we can also investigate that this in another way. We compute the quotient ring, take Rx over this. This consists of all cosets of this ideal, and when we divide this polynomial by this, the quotient will be absorbed in this ideal, and the remainder will be some polynomial of this form. So after simplification, we can write its element in this way. We can simplify by using another way, that we identify the cosets of x with x bar, and we obtain that these elements can be described in this way. We know that there is a famous isomorphism between them, and here we can now x is not a variable, we can replace x bar with some theta, but theta satisfy this condition, and you can see that this is exactly the set of complex numbers. So this is actually happened that this become fields. And theorems guaranteed this is a field, but we investigate by direct way also that this is really a field. And now comes to the next example. We see what happened if we take a reducible polynomial. Now we take a field f2 and consider this polynomial. This polynomial can be factored in this field. It means this is reducible over f2, and by the theorem this cannot be a field. This message is granted by the theorem, but we investigate directly that why it happened. We consider the quotient ring. We proceed as in the previous example, and we obtain that this we get that f2x over x square plus 1 is isomorphic to this set a plus b theta, such that a and b belongs to f2, and theta square plus 1 is 0. We have two choices for a and two choices for b, so we get this is a set ring of 4 elements, but this is not a field, because you notice that we have a zero divisor in this ring. So this, it has zero divisor, it cannot be integral domain, it cannot be a field. So the purpose of mention this example here is the following, that what is the response of the purpose of showing this example here is that why we do not get a field if this polynomial is irreducible. If we think deeply, we will notice that when we take a reducible polynomial, it factors, and that's why we get zero divisor in this thing, so it cannot be a field. So I try to explain the things as much as I can, and now these are the references. I will use the material from these books in my course, and time to time, maybe if I use some other book, I will add here, and these are the main books that I will continue using in this course. And thank you very much for your patience, and Allah Hafiz.